What is up everyone, welcome back, FPL Harry here, welcome to another video. Today the FPL fixtures launch, so what we're going to do is have a review of those fixtures, look at some of the teams that I think have got the best fixtures, we'll have a look at some of the teams with the worst fixtures, and then the rest of those stuck in the middle. We'll talk about a few players along the way that I'd potentially be interested in from the best fixtures and some that I'd maybe be avoiding that I previously wanted to own in my team from those teams with the worst fixtures. Before we start, a big shout out to Holly Shand, Twitter, YouTube for the graphics that we will be using in this video. Some really quick editing from everyone on Twitter for these opening fixtures. The drop this 9 o'clock this morning, there were tickers all over Twitter, all over YouTube from about 9:30. So we're going to use some of those. Let's get in and we're going to start with the best fixtures that we have. So we've got 6 teams here that have the best opening fixtures. So we've got Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City, Wolves, Brighton, Brentford and Chelsea ranked from best to worst for their fixtures. So the team that stands out at the top, of course, is Arsenal, who have sort of 5 opening green fixtures, followed by Manchester United, which has been ranked as a sort of grey fixture, given some of their performances at the end of last season. Manchester United fans, apologies if I've upset you there, but they do need to be downgraded a little bit on our fixture tickers. Some great assets in there. I'm really looking at the price that Saka comes in at, potentially Nketiah if Arsenal are slow to move in the transfer window, although I don't think they'll go a whole season with Nketiah leading the line. I do think there's a good chance that he starts the first few games that they have. Potentially in defence, if we're looking at the likes of Tierney, Ben White, Gabriel, what price are these players going to come in at? And if Ramsdale creeps in at 5 million as a goalkeeper, I think he's really worth considering for this start. Liverpool next, it makes the likes of Mo Salah and Trent an even more essential picks in our Game Week 1 teams. We may talk and we'll talk always about, is Salah essential? Do we need him? Do we need Trent Robertson in our teams? But given those opening fixtures, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Manchester United, Bournemouth, Newcastle and Everton the first 6, I can't see myself going without Salah. He's definitely a good captaincy shout for that run as well. Manchester City next, you could have the likes of Cancelo, Laporte, Diaz, Haaland, De Bruyne, Foden all in attack as well. Again, very popular picks in there. The likes of Son, Kane not forming that sort of top 6. They may have to make way for us to go with a Liverpool and Manchester City premium options in our team for the start of the season. Wolves next, they were great defensively at points of last season. They may be where we look for some of those budget options. Pedro Neto in attack, we could look at the likes of Connor Cody in defence. Any 4.5 defender from Wolves I think will be a very popular pick. Jose Sarr likely to have a price rise up to the likes of 5 million, so we'll have to wait and see on that, but again, another goalkeeper that we could consider. Next up, Brighton and Brentford. Again, 2 teams that I think will really turn to for cheap options at the start of the season. The likes of David Raya, the likes of Sanchez in goal. You can look in defence, you can look in midfield and attack. If Eriksen joins, and Mbeumo Tony will also be popular again at the start of the season. Brighton, again, it's a bit more difficult in attack because we don't always know who's going to start, but the likes of Cucurella, if he stays, the likes of Lamptey, the likes of Veltman in defence are all going to be popular picks, especially as we try to find those budget players to start the season. I think these are the 2 clubs that we'll want to look at. Now, bottom of the pile in 7th is Chelsea. An okay start. They do have that Tottenham fixture in Game Week 2, but it is at home. Everton, Leeds, Leicester, Southampton and West Ham around that means the likes of Reece James and Ben Chilwell are definitely top of my watch list going into the start of the season. I will be looking to see their price. If I have them coming in at sort of 6 million, I'm hoping Chilwell potentially could. He'll definitely be one that I'm hoping to own for the start of the season. In attack, it's slightly more difficult because we don't know who's going to start. Is Lukaku going to stay? Is he going to go? But Mason Mount in particular, intrigued to see his price given those Chelsea opening fixtures. So those are the top 7 teams for the start of the season. Now let's look at the teams that have the worst. So these are the worst 6 teams. We'll start from bottom. Fulham have not been given a good run of fixtures to start their campaign. Liverpool, Wolves, Brentford, followed by Arsenal, Brighton and Tottenham. Mitrovic is one that we will have looked at, but I think we'll be looking elsewhere. Ivan Toney, for example, likely to be a similar price. We saw him on some of the best fixtures, and I think we'll be going for him over the likes of the Fulham assets. It does mean they've got some nice runs of fixtures later on in the season, but for Game Week 1, I think we'll be staying clear. Next up, we have Southampton. They finished the season really poorly and they'll need some time to find some form. I don't think even if they had a good run, there are many assets in that team that were really wanted because of how they finished last season. Given these fixtures and how they start this season, I think the majority of us will be looking elsewhere. Crystal Palace, again, the likes of Mateta, the likes of Wilf Zaha, the likes of Gehi in defence, Gaeta or Butland in goal. Again, a really difficult start to the season. They've got Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester City in their first 4 with Aston Villa in there. Again, it's very difficult to get behind any of these assets, even at a cheap price. As we saw earlier, the likes of Brentford, the likes of Brighton will pose better cheap options for the start of the season. Bournemouth next up. Fulham and Bournemouth not being given good starts to their life in the Premier League. They've got Manchester City, Arsenal and Liverpool after Aston Villa in their Game Week 1 fixture. Again, the likes of Dominic Solanke that we may be looking at as a Mitrovic replacement makes it very difficult for us to go and invest in him because that is a really difficult run of fixtures. It's a good chance for us to see with 2 of these newly promoted teams what we're going to get from them and then maybe review on our wildcards around Game Week 6, Game Week 8 about how good their fixtures are and how informed these potential teams are. Next up, West Ham. Again, there are some okay ones. They've got Nottingham Forest, Brighton and Villa from Game Week 2 to Game Week 4. Their prices are likely to be increased. Antonio Bowen are likely to have price increases. In defence, they didn't keep that many clean sheets, so it's a bit more difficult to see what we're going to do from a defensive point of view. So it's a big wait and see there. If Bowen is priced favourably, you could go and have a go at them. They did put up a good show against Manchester City at the latter end of the season last year, but I still think I'm not going to have any West Ham players in my team given the start to the season they have. And just above them, again, sort of middling fixtures, we have Manchester United. Brighton, Brentford in the opening 2 is okay. If the likes of David De Gea comes in at 5, he could be worth looking at. But then Liverpool, Southampton and Leicester both being away with Arsenal. It's difficult. The prices will be really key. What do the likes of Rashford and Sancho and some of those defenders potentially come in at? They could be okay differentials, but again, probably wait and see for me given the prices that they are likely to have and the fixtures that they start the season with. So those are the worst fixtures. Let's finish now with those teams in the middle that we may look to rotate in and out of our teams. So these are the 7 teams that have okay fixtures to start the season. From top to bottom, we have Leeds at the top. It's okay, they do have that Chelsea at home fixture with some difficult away fixtures in there as well. But it's okay if you want to look at the likes of Rafinha. If he's priced at 6.5, I think he could be popular. 7 million maybe a push, but I am expecting with Bamford back, if Phillips stays as well, they could have a strong start to the season. Next down is Spurs, a key talking point. Spurs not on the good fixtures or the bad fixtures. The likes of Son or Kane, they finished the season so well and were really key assets for us to own. But it's not that great. It's not the likes of City. It's not like Liverpool. They've got good fixtures. They're not amazing. They're probably not captaincy options for the first sort of 3 game weeks. That means they fall further down the radar from the likes of Haaland and the likes of Salah. Given the amount of money that we have to spend at the start of the season, I think a lot of people may look and go, I think Son or Kane are the ones that I'm going to have to go without. I can't go without Haaland. I can't go without De Bruyne. I can't go without Salah. If you manage to fit them in with the likes of Son or Kane, then good on you. But I think it's going to be a difficult ask. But it's an okay run of fixtures to start. Definitely players that I'll be, of course, looking at throughout the majority of the season. Next down, Everton. They play Chelsea at home on the first day and sort of Liverpool in Game Week 6. But in between that, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, Brentford, Leeds. The likes of Richarlison, the likes of Damari Gray, the likes of Anthony Gordon in particular is the one I'm looking to see his price. It's an okay run, a good cheap bench fodder, a player that you could potentially rotate in and out of your squad in sort of a 3-4-3, a sort of 4-4-2 formation. I'm looking at some of these players. It's an okay run, but a difficult game to start in Game Week 1. Next up, we have Aston Villa. Again, a sort of tale of 2 halves. A really nice opening 4 fixtures for them with Bournemouth, Everton, Crystal Palace and West Ham. Similar to what Aston Villa had last year. They had a really nice opening 3 fixtures and then everyone sold them really quickly. It might be a similar tale this year. They then play Arsenal and Manchester City in Game Week 5 and Game Week 6. So a good opening one. The likes of Coutinho, the likes of Ramsey, the likes of Watkins, Cash, Dean in defence. We'll be looking at their prices because they have a really nice opening few games. Next down, we have Newcastle. Again, a full mixed fixture here. We've got Nottingham Forest and Brighton in the first 2 before Manchester City, Wolves away and Liverpool away. I am looking at the likes of Callum Wilson, Dan Burn to see their prices. Bruno Guimaraes in midfield as well. It's probably slightly more difficult. I may look elsewhere. We've spoken about Brighton. We've spoken about Brentford. We've spoken about Everton in there as well. I may favour those guys, but I do like the looks of Callum Wilson. He finished the season really strongly. If he can stay fit with Bruno Guimaraes in midfield, I think Newcastle will have a good season and a good start as well. Next up, Leicester. Again, very difficult to know what to get to them. It's going to really depend on the prices that the likes of Maddison and Fofana come in at. They do play Arsenal and Chelsea away in their first 4, followed by Manchester United. So again, a bit of a wait and see on there. And the final team that we haven't spoken about is Nottingham Forest. It's an okay, the easiest run of fixtures of all the newly promoted sides. If we are looking for a cheap option, if Samba stays in goal, the likes of Brennan Johnson, for example, could be good cheap enablers. They play Newcastle, West Ham and Everton in their first three, but then it is Tottenham and Manchester City in game weeks 4 and 5. It does get easier for them from game week 6 onwards, but we can wait and review that further down the season. So these are sort of the first good, okay, bad fixtures that we've got for the start of the season. Let me know your thoughts. Key players, what are you going to do about the Salah, Haaland, Son debate that we're going to have in our midfield and attack? Let me know who of those you're thinking of. If you think of any teams that should be higher up that maybe have difficult fixtures that you're still thinking investing in, let me know in the comments. Welcome back to the videos for this season. Please like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. So much to come in pre-season, so much to come throughout the season as well. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll be back again very soon.